everyone. Hello, my name is Ursula Bradley, and welcome to Women's History Month. I am so honored and so thankful that my sister Jacqueline invited me to come in to speak this evening. I have been listening to you all with your different topics and the golden nuggets you have been dropping, and I want to thank you personally because they have been so inspiring and so inspirational, and I'm so honored just actually to have that connection with you all through this wonderful community. Well, tonight my sister Jacqueline wanted me to come in to speak, and I was like, oh, excited because this is something that's a part of my series of my coaching, and I'm going to talk about the courage to begin. Yes, so I said, let me wear my Courage Zone t-shirt for you all tonight. So the courage to begin is what I'm going to share with you all on this evening. I just want to share that I do work in the education arena, and one day I was actually in my office and I came out of my office and I went up front and I saw these kids all around, just all over the place, like they were having a good time. We knew they weren't just roaming the halls because they had their little actual notebooks and little clipboards and they had their pens, and they actually were talking and gathering in groups, and I was like, what's going on here? Then there were sticky notes stuck on our office door, the main door, and there were sticky notes in the hallway, and I realized that these children are actually on a scavenger hunt. Yes, our counselor had them on a scavenger hunt. So when the kids do different things, you all, I am a person, even when someone is speaking and something going on, even watching TV, I go a little bit deeper and I really focus in. So when the kids were actually doing their scavenger hunt and looking for their clues, I assume, I sat there and I observed and I watched these kids. I noticed there were laughter. Yes, I saw the smiles on their face. I saw how excited they were. I saw how they got together in teams. They started writing things down and they start actually strategizing and thinking about these different things. But then I just saw like, wow, these kids were so excited and they were really deep into their assignments. So as I continued to view the kids, that reminded me of how life can be sometimes, how life can take us on a scavenger hunt. Yes, life can take us on a scavenger hunt. And when we're on that scavenger hunt, many times we're out searching for something. We're not sure of what we're searching for. We're looking. We may be with someone at that time, or we may be alone, and we may feel good at the time, and we may have someone to help us, but still, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, and we're still searching and we're searching. So many times as individuals at those points in our life, we just continue to start searching and searching, and we're trying to figure out where should we begin. Now I can say this because I was once there, you all. I was that person that was trying to find the courage to begin. That was me at one time. Did I know this? Of course I didn't know it because I didn't know what I was looking for. I just knew there was something that I wanted to do. And guess what? I didn't even have the courage. Didn't even know about courage at all. Didn't know anything about it. It wasn't spoken. So actually watching those kids made me think about how that's how our life can be sometimes. We're in a scavenger hunt. We're just looking and we're looking, we're looking. We may be looking excited. Yes, we may be working together with someone, but guess what? Deep down inside, the courage is not there. And we're still trying to find that courage to begin. So as I mentioned, that was me. I was searching, but I didn't know what I was searching for. I thought I was just scared, you all. I thought I was just scared or it wasn't the right time. But most importantly, I didn't have the courage to begin. I didn't have the courage to begin. So once I realized that God had placed that courage within me, you all, and in my mind, body, soul, and spirit, I was like, Ursula, you know what? You can do something. He revealed the trueness, yes, of who I was, you all. I was actually the chosen one. I was the chosen one in so many different situations. All the time, I realized it was in front of me. It was right there in front of me. That courage was in front of me. It was within me because God had already placed it there. So yes, I was trying to find the courage to begin. And as I mentioned, it was in front of me all the time. I didn't even know that. Now, when I talk about being the chosen one, I've shared my story with many individuals about how I realized that my courage within me started when I was 16 years old. by many different sequences of life that I had to encounter as it relates to being that young lady to help my mother raise my two brothers. Yes, then on through life, I had to be the caregiver for my father. Then I had to be the caregiver for my mother. And then last year, during the pandemic, I had to be the caregiver for my brother. So I had many sequences of things in life, but I realized that my courage actually started, you all, when I was 16 years old. Did I know that? Of course I didn't know that. Didn't know anything about that. But God showed me. He showed me through those moments of my life that I was already on my courage journey. And when I found this out, and when I thought about it some years ago, I didn't realize that the courage to begin, to me, I didn't know. But guess what? It started when I was 16 years old. So I realized I didn't have to search anymore. I didn't have to be on that scavenger hunt anymore because he showed me the life sequences. Once again, he went back and replayed all of that for me. He said, Ursula, go back. And I thought about all of those life sequences. And I was like, wow, it was there all the time. So finding the courage to begin once again, it was at 16 for me, you all. That's when I started. But I didn't realize I was on a scavenger hunt because at that age, I'm still a child. But beyond the adult years, yes, I was on a scavenger hunt. So many times in life, you all, we feel that we have to actually go step by step with many things and try to figure it out. But guess what? God already has the plan for us. He's already written the blueprint out, and we know this. We know this. So I didn't know that I was on a journey trying to find my courage to begin. And I was like, begin what? I didn't know. I just didn't know. So my thought process of actually trying to find that courage to begin, wherever it was not God's plan. See, when I was on my scavenger hunt, that wasn't his plan. He already had my plan out, which meant that I shouldn't have been on a scavenger hunt. I shouldn't have been a person that just felt like I was all over the place, going through something. No. See, what we must understand and we must realize is that our plan is not his plan. Most definitely. Our plan is not his plan. Even though when I think back to those kids when they were on their scavenger hunt and they were looking for things, that was not their plan. That was actually the counselor's plan because she set that up for them. So they were searching and searching and searching and they looked excited about it. But in the end results, that was not their plan. That was the counselor's plan. So I think back to even when I was at that age of 16, going into my 20s, even in my 30s and 40s, I may have been searching for something, thinking that, oh, I've got it together. But no, God told me, Ursula, that's not my plan. That's why I was going like this, you all. Like this. Circle, circle, circle. Trying to figure it out. Trying to figure it out. Didn't realize all those sequences he placed in my life allowed me to build the courage within, because just being that person, that young girl, raising her brothers, helping my mother at 16, taking care of my father all the way through hospice, a year later with my mom, cancer again, taking care of her, and then last year with COVID, taking care of my brother that had an aortic dissection to his heart at 40 some years old. So I realized, I was like, my God, I got so much going on, so many sequences, but I realized those are teachable moments which turn to wisdom. And at 53, almost 54, guess what? The courage is still beginning, it's still there. The courage is still building up within me, and I thank God for that. I thank God for that, because it's so wonderful for me to know that hasn't stopped for me. The courage hasn't stopped for me. He's still building me. He's still giving me. And one thing I realized was that, Ursula, you're not doing it. He's placing that before you. So all of those different sequences that have occurred up to now, I said they're teachable moments, which turns to wisdom, in which we all occur that. And it's wonderful. So today, my brothers and sisters, let's stop taking ourselves on the scavenger hunt of life. Let's stop feeling that we've got to go search and go look and figure it out. What we have to do is just, you know what, just sit down, have a moment, have a quiet moment, and just wait. Because God has it already there. It's before us. It's within us. The courage is within us. We don't know why we went through that situation. We don't know why we went through that situation. We don't know why the situations are occurring in our lives right now. But he's trying to teach us something. He's trying to show us that you already have that, my sister. The courage is within you. If you could handle what you're doing right now, he's saying, guess what? Guess what? Your courage has already began. That's what's so beautiful about him. So beautiful. So you may be that person trying to find the courage to begin. But guess what? I'm here to tell you once again, you have it. The courage is within you all. Just trust God. As God's word said in Psalm 27:14, in the English Standard Version, it says, wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. We have to wait on. Through it all, I had to learn that, Ursula, you didn't need to only trust him. You need to wait on him. See, we grew up in the church. We grew up around very powerful, strong women. Yes, strong women, women of God. And they would always tell us, just wait on the Lord, just wait on it. But what we had to realize is that, we had to go back and sit and say, I'm waiting on the Lord, but I've got to make sure that I trust him as well. I've got to make sure I trust him as well. Not only wait on him, he's telling me, Ursula, you got to put your part in this as well. And that's when I really realized the courage to begin. Yes, I had to find that courage to begin what I thought, but it was there all the time. So I'm going to share 3 things with you that I did as it relates to for my courage to begin once I realized that, yes, I trust him. I'm waiting on him. But guess what? It's time for me to get off of that scavenger hunt. Get off of the scavenger hunt and listen, because he's always speaking to us. And be obedient, Ursula, and do what he's telling you to do. Even though if it sounds out of the ordinary, or even if it sounds like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Don't question him. I realized that's what I had to do. So I'm going to share 3 things with you all that I actually had to think about and say, okay, I had to do in order for the courage to begin. Number 1, in order to find my courage to begin, I had to start telling myself a new story in my mind that would take me off of my scavenger hunt. You hear me? I was in that circle, probably stuck, comfortable, Of course, when you really find courage, that means you're no longer comfortable. We're putting that to the back burner. No longer. So I had to find it in my mind and say, you know what? I had to start telling myself this new story to say, okay, Ursula, let's rewrite this story in the mindset that you have right here of saying, yes, I'm going through these things. Yes, I have these sequences in my life. I can't do anything else because those things have me held down. Taking care of my brothers, taking care of my father, taking care of my mother, taking care of my brother. Being a wife, being a mother. I couldn't tell myself that, you just can't do it, just all over the place. I had to actually tell myself, Ursula, it's time for you to come out of that comfort zone and step into the courage zone. You can do it. Yes. That's when I start saying, finding my courage to begin, finding my courage to begin. Where is it? Where is it? It's there. I had to go in my mind, you all, and tell myself a new story. Oh, yes. Just like we're all authors, we're writing those stories. I had to make sure that I was handling my story as well. And most of all of my books that I'm in, that I'm co-authors with and I've written, they are my story. It's my stories in there. That's what I write about, to share my journey. So that made me think about when I rewrote all of that. I was like, whew, no longer am I on this scavenger hunt, because that scavenger hunt was not mine. When I actually decided to write my own story, that was mine. Start telling myself about my story. That was mine. No longer was I actually listening to what others were saying or doing what the world wanted or doing what the world thought was right. No longer was I there. So number 1, I had to start telling myself a new story in my mind that would take me off of my scavenger hunt. No longer was I there. See, we have to do that. Many of us are still on those scavenger hunts of life, and you know what? That's okay. But what we have to do, we have to sit down, find that place. Sit down. Find that place. Do you hear me? I'm in my office. My office is my place because I have my inspirational sayings around it. I have things that remind me of what Ursula needs to be doing. This is Ursula's space. See, if I step out into the hallway, into the foyer, that's everybody's space. Or if I step into the living room, into the den, the dining room, that's everybody's space. But when I come in here, this reminds me of what Ursula, yes, Ursula's journey. It shows Ursula's courage that God placed within her. So you need to just sit down, find that place, and listen because He's telling you. He's telling you each and every day. So that's number one. Number two, I decide to hunt at the forefront of my mind. Yes, have the courage that turned my dreams into reality. See, I had to go forward at this thing and say, you know what? I'm going at the forefront of my mind. I'm not going way back in here. Because if you go too far back, it's going to bring all kind of stuff up. So I had to go to the forefront of my mind. And I had to have the courage that turned my dreams into realities. See, the dreams were there. They were there. They weren't buried way back there. Because if I go way back and start thinking about some things, I'd be like, ooh, I can't do it. It'll just discourage you. It'll just take you to another place. So once again, I had to decide to hunt the forefront of my mind to have the courage that turned my dreams into realities. We all have dreams. We all talk about that. We have goals. We have visions. But are we turning them into realities? Are we making them real? Or are we just talking about it? See, we get to the point to where we actually turn them into realities. That's when we find the courage to begin. Yes, we're beginning. We're beginning. Oh, the process is starting. We're beginning. So number two, I had to hunt at the forefront of my mind to have the courage that turned my dreams into realities. So my action is what made the difference in who I wanted to become. I had to make some action. I had to put action into it. Make it happen, you all. I wasn't on a scavenger hunt no more. But my actions, my thought process, yes, telling myself the story in my mind. My daily actions determined the life that God had for me. I didn't go and say, you know what, I'm going to go on what I want to do, on my own personal blueprint I'm writing. No. It was not about me. I had to remember that God has the blueprint out for you, Ursula. You must continue to trust Him, just as I mentioned in Psalm 27:14. Yes, wait on the Lord. I had to wait, okay? And be strong. I'm looking at my notes. Be strong and let your heart take courage. I had to wait on Him. It wasn't about me. So my daily actions were important. What was I doing? Yes, you have to pay attention to your daily actions, you all, at the forefront of your mind, because if not, it would take you just like this on that scavenger hunt in circles. And we don't want that. We don't want that. And number three, I had to tell myself that it was okay. And I did not have to be ashamed because my scavenger hunt of life were teachable moments that turned to wisdom. I had to tell myself, Ursula, you don't have to be ashamed of anything about that, that you were a 16-year-old that didn't go to football games or hang out with friends or really, as you got older, dated or do anything because you were home keeping your brothers. I had to tell myself, you have to be ashamed of that. Or you put your life on a standstill for your father, who my mother and father separated, but I still went back and took care of him. My mother came in as well. You don't have to be ashamed of that because I was raised that way. My mother raised me that way, and my mother was a woman of God. That's who we did. See, I had to tell myself those things. That I don't have to be ashamed of anything as it relates to being on a scavenger hunt, just searching and searching and searching. And then I'm like almost at, close to 50, and I'm still like feeling I'm searching here. I don't have to be ashamed of that. Because when I turned 50, a whole different mindset happened. That's why I love this community. When I turned 50, something was uplifted off of me. I don't know what it is about 50. Can y'all agree with me on that? It's something about 50. Well, number one, my son, we have a son, we start a little late. It was like he graduated high school, went to college. So at 50, it was like, whew, we're sort of getting things wind down a little bit. 50 was a great time. Great time. Yes, so I realized, I don't have to be ashamed of anything, that I was a late bloomer as it relates to so many things in my life. It's okay. But guess what? I'm not on that scavenger hunt again. Yes, my courage to begin started late for me, and that's okay. Because I didn't know anything about the courage part of my life. I didn't know anything about the purpose part of my life. See, we weren't taught that. And I always say that in our era, we weren't taught that. We were told, as long as you have the basic necessities of life, be comfortable, you're fine. So we grew up that way. But deep down inside, something was stirring in me. It was this courage zone. Something was stirring within me, and I was like, what is it? It was courage. It was courage, my sisters. God had placed that within me. But I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't take time to sit and listen to him and realize he had the blueprint already. Because my mother told me, she said, Ursula, you were always a child that was always writing in notebooks and doing things. So I've always had that mindset of entrepreneurship. I've always had that mindset of actually helping, inspiring, encouraging. And I tell people my actual, let's see how we can put this, because I know what it is. My purpose is to take care of people. Caregiving, giving the care. That's my purpose. That's my purpose of life. That's my purpose, and I know that. And that's okay. So everything that I do, I want to make sure that I am encouraging, I'm motivating, I'm helping, I'm assisting. And it's more of a personal level. Not only through my business or my ministry, it's through something personal within me. Whenever I do something, I say, it's not about me. It's about the platform for the ladies, for those that I serve, my avatar, my target market. That's so important to me. So I had to tell myself that you don't have to be ashamed that you were like a late bloomer with all of this. Yes, you don't have to be that if that's you as well. So today, my sisters, I want you to become that woman, to find the courage to begin. That's so important. By speaking life over yourself. Speak life over yourself. Think about this. As long as you're inhaling and exhaling, you can do all things. As long as you're inhaling and exhaling, you can do all things. That's the courage to begin right there. Also, dream big. We don't dream small. We dream big because we have courage. Dream big. Dream big, my sisters. Do not do anything small. We don't want to think small. Because when God made us, he didn't make us small. No, he made us big and full of so much. So, dream big. And then I want you to take those risks, my sisters. Go for it. You are in a phenomenal community, and everybody's here to support each other, so go for it. If you're saying, wow, Ursula, I'm on a scavenger hunt right now, and I think I do need to think about the courage to begin. That's okay. That's just starting for you today. That's okay, because guess what? We have to take risk. We have to go for it. But the reason I didn't take risks back then, or even this may be you, because we didn't know. We didn't know that God had already placed so much within us. He had placed that courage within us. As women now, we look around and we see everything going on with women right now. We can't see anything but courage and leadership. Phenomenal women, full of wisdom. It is wonderful to see. It is wonderful to see, So when I say Women's History Month of March, I'm like, we need to do that every month. Because right now we can see sisters out there on TV every day. Oh my God, it's amazing. So once again, finding the courage to begin. If you feel that you're at a standstill, or if you're feeling that you're at a scavenger hunt, you're all over the place, and you say, I might be doing so many different things, But let's think about really who are you doing those things for? Think about that. How do you feel when you do those things? Do you feel purposeful? Do you feel courageous? Think about that. How do you feel? I tell people anything I do must be purposeful. I'm not doing anything that's not purposeful because it's not about me. There has to be a purpose for it. And it has to be in a serving capacity for me. Most definitely. That's me. So, once again, I pray that you all enjoyed this. And I pray that you took something from it. I just want to recap those 3 things again about finding the courage to begin of what I actually did. I had to start telling myself a new story in my mind that would take me off of my scavenger hunt. Number 2, I had to hunt at the forefront of my mind to have the courage that turned my dreams into realities. Oh yes, I had to hunt, I had to go for it. And number 3, I had to tell myself that it was okay and I did not have to be ashamed because of my scavenger hunt of life. And they were teachable moments that turned to wisdom. Yes, so those were 3 things I had to do. So I'm here to tell you, my sisters, the courage to begin finding it. And once you find it, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, you know. No longer will you be on that scavenger hunt of starting one project, going to another project, going to another project. No, we want to make sure that we're positioning ourselves. And you all can't see, but on my whiteboard here, my words are positioning myself and completion. Once I found the courage to begin, I make sure that I position myself. And I make sure that completion takes place as well. So my sisters, I want to thank you all so much for coming in this evening. I most definitely want to thank my sister Jacqueline for the opportunity to share with you all just a little bit of information about the courage to begin. Yes, I watch you all, I follow you all. You all are doing some phenomenal, amazing things. I'm so inspired, encouraged by you, and I thank you for what you are doing. I thank you for being the woman that you are. Amazing to see that. I love it. So inspiring. It keeps me uplifted. It keeps me going. It keeps me in this zone right here, the courage zone. I tell people the word comfort is not a bad word, but we're not sitting in comfort because we have work to do. God has work for us to do. Let's continue to be that vessel. Let's continue to be the person that He wants us to be. That's what we have to do as those women of God. Yes. So once again, thank you, my sister Jacqueline, for this opportunity. I pray that you all enjoyed it. Yes, I've been enjoying what you all been putting out there. Just been so great. And remember, finding the courage to begin may be starting for you today. And guess what? It's okay. Once again, my name is Ursula Bradley. You all have a great evening. Be blessed, be safe, and I love each and every one of you all. Bye-bye now.